Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. Today we welcome back Joe D'Angelo, promoter for Cruise Fest, where we discuss that two-day event Cruise Fest, as well as giving a recap of Kiss Cruise 9. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks for watching. All right, hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. I'm really excited today. I got a return guest with me, Cruise Fest promoter, Joe D'Angelo. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good, Mike. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming back on. I'm going to start with this first question. Have you had any time to recover and rest yet since we got back home?
That's pretty much all I've done since I got back home. I needed it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you did. I think I ran into you in the Bahamas when we were out in the water, and I said to you, I'm exhausted, and I didn't do all the work before the cruise that you did. I don't know how you do it, but, to me, you pulled off a great party, and, I'll just start off by thanking you because I had a great time at the party.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time, and thank you for those kind words. We have a great team. This year what we did, Jay Jagowski, who I'd done parties previously, and Neil, who was my new partner this year, and had teamed up with Jay and Bill, who was friends with Jay, which now we're all friends. Yep. And we're all working together because we have why should there be more than one party? That's how we looked at it. Agreed. We're all going to the same cruise. We're all working together. And I think we really bonded on making the best event possible. And I'm telling you, I really have not heard any negativity from anyone. It's all been positive. And that means we did the job right. And that makes me feel good.
100%. So you were happy with it and happy with the way it turned out. I have to assume you were.
I'm happy with what happened. You know what it is? When you run an event like this, you have two sides of it. You have the side that everyone sees, yep, and then you have the side that no one sees. Of course, yep. And that's the behind-the-scenes stuff. There's the side that everyone saw, which is the 99% of the people that came to the event, was great. And they all enjoyed themselves. Everything flowed smoothly. The lines went quickly. Everything was good, the way we wanted it. Plenty of room, not like what the Vinnie Vincent thing I did 2 years ago, because we wanted to spread out. All that was great. Yep. Some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that I'm hoping to change for years going forward, next year specifically. Some of us guys who did all the work didn't get to see any of the bands because we were so busy working. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that we can figure out a way this year to get, I love the bands. I love music. That's why I've been booking bands for 30 years. This is something that I love to do. Yep. So I wanted to make sure that next year I get a chance to actually see the talent. But, the bottom line is we did this for the fans, by the fans, for the fans. It's been our motto. Mm-hmm. And I think the fans had a hell of an event that they were all pretty happy to be at.
Mm-hmm. No, you just touched on something to me that was, I wasn't there the Monday, the first day. I arrived on the Tuesday and I had a VIP ticket this year. And like you said, last year it was crowded, but I still had a great time last year. This year I walked into the VIP section and during the shows I was able to move around, get over to the bar, come back, great spot. There was a lot of elbow room. You weren't crushed in like a sardine. I thought you guys really nailed it in that regard this year. It was perfect the way it was set up.
Thank you. We're probably going to the same place again. I don't see why we wouldn't. Yep. The layout for the expo was awesome. The registration check-in was perfect. Yep. I mean, there were a lot of good aspects to that location. There's a couple little things we want to work on food-wise to make sure that they have the food running a little longer. Because when you're doing a rock and roll show, people are up till 2, 3 in the morning. They want to grab some grub.
Absolutely.
So that's something that we'll definitely work on for next year. One little facet that we can tweak.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because I was going to talk to you about that at the end of this. If there was one negative, and it's not your fault at all, but after the Ace show, I was like, man, I'm starving. I'm sure the hotel's got something open here. And everything was closed. I'm like, man, what's this hotel thinking, man? They could be raking in a lot of cash right now. So I'm glad to hear you bring that up because I went to bed hungry, no fault of your own. But I was like, damn, what's the hotel thinking? They left money on the table.
I said the same thing. I went to bed hungry as well. I wanted to order a sandwich or something. Yeah. I think they weren't expecting. They had I think we sold 400 rooms. Mm-hmm. We had a lot more people that came that weren't staying at that hotel. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they knew what they were in for. Yep. I think next year they're going to have a much better handle on it because they're going to know, there's going to be 1,000+ people here each day. We're going to need to do certain things to accommodate them. Mm-hmm. So
Right.
And that's something we'll work with, too, to make things better for next year.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, that's, to me, a very minor thing. The event itself, in my opinion, couldn't have been more perfect. And, you know, like I just said, I wasn't there the first night, and I was so disappointed. I had personal reasons I couldn't be there. But probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm on my phone, I'm looking at Facebook, and all of a sudden pictures are flying in and live videos are coming in. And there's Ace on stage with Sebastian Bach. So, you know, I was already disappointed I was missing the Sebastian Bach show because, you know, I understood he was doing the whole first Skid Row album, which is awesome. But then there's Ace jumping up on him. And I'm assuming you guys knew about that beforehand, or was that a surprise for you guys?
When Sebastian got there on Monday, he came up to us and was like, hey, look, you know, I'm thrilled to be here. I love this. I'm a Kiss fan. I know Ace is here, too. He's like, is Ace in the building? I'm like, well, yeah, he's doing meet and greets today. They're like, dude, why don't you see if we'll come up and do a song or two with me? So, you know, we went back to Ace's camp and we, you know, talked to them. And they were like, yeah, let me check with them. And Ace came back. He was like, yeah, sure. You know, typical Ace fashion. He was like, yeah, let's do it. So he was only going to do one or two songs. But he was apparently having a really good time. And when it was all said and done, he turned around and looked at Sebastian. And he goes, let's do Deuce.
Right.
So they did a third song that was totally impromptu. And the whole thing was a very organic, original experience that wasn't planned. And I think the fans really got a special treat that none of us were expecting to give them. And that was a treat for us, I think, as much as the fans.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, I wasn't there. I'm just sitting on my phone. I was excited. I was like, God damn, I wish I could have gotten out of my thing today and I could have been here. So, you know, maybe next year I have to make sure that both days I have, if it's a 2-day event, that both days I have nothing going on, because to me, just even watching on the internet, that was exciting. So I'm sure the people in the room must have been, you know, doubly or triply excited then, you know, for being there.
The applause was kind of loud for that. So I think there was definitely a lot of, oh my God, I can't believe what I just saw.
Right. Absolutely. So how did the rest of the first of the day go for you guys? It seemed like everything had gone very smooth that day.
It did. We had a really good turnout for the expo part of it. And I have to give credit to Jay Jadowski on that one. He kind of took the lead. And it was laid out well. We had Kiss Army Warehouse and Creatures of the South and other vendors like vinyl vendors and stick and pick guys. And then we also had like Dale Torborg, the Demon Wrestler, and Medusa and Lydia Chris, and Jean Bevois was there. Who I got to tell you, just a quick segue.
Yeah, go.
Awesome guy.
Awesome.
Such a nice guy. I can't wait to work with him again.
Nice.
So that being said, he was great to the fans. He got on stage that night and played with the All-Star Band and did all night.
Oh, awesome.
And, what a stage presence. I mean, I really was impressed with him as a person and as a performer.
Yep.
And it's nice when something, I mean, I've been doing this for so long, I don't get surprised that often. I don't want to sound jaded. It's just that I'm used to certain things.
You've seen a lot.
Yeah. And with him, that was a surprise, and it was such a pleasant surprise. It was great. Yep. So that being said, I don't see me doing any kind of these events without him being a part of it in some way.
No, that's awesome, because I did meet him, I think, last December at the New Jersey Expo, and same exact impression. I didn't see him perform, although I've seen the performances on the net, but just such a nice guy, talkative, friendly with the fans, taking pictures. It just, you know, I probably could have stood there for 20 minutes, and I don't think he ever would have been like, oh, your time's up, let's go, come on. You know, he really took the time with the fans. He seemed like a great guy.
Yeah, and, you know, I guess, too, you know, I don't know how often he does these types of events.
Yeah.
And this event was tailored for him and what he does. So it really kind of fit him well, and I think it fit the fans well. Because they're like, oh, my God, John's here, and they got to go over and talk to him. And I mean, I actually ran into him at the bar after the first night's event.
Oh, okay.
And we just sat down and had a drink and just talked about all kinds of things. And I thought that was really cool. He didn't have to be that social with me, but I think that's naturally how he is. So great guy. Very, very pleased. Him, John Corabi is another one who's just like that. Dale Torborg, the Demon Wrestler, what a super guy. You know, he's a type of guy I would absolutely see me going out and having a couple drinks with and laughing and doing stuff. John Regan, what a class act. I mean,
absolutely.
I have nothing bad to say about him. He's one of the classiest guys I've ever worked with.
Agreed.
So I'm glad that I was able to be a part of this event. Like I said, we have a team that does the work. You know, Jay, Bill, Patrice, my wife, Katie, Neil's wife are so involved. Plus the people on the ground the day of.
Okay.
It really just, we were all happy with the talent we had chosen.
No, absolutely. And, you know, even on the second day before the return of the Comet show, Todd Howarth was just like hanging out in the lobby of the hotel, hanging out, talking to fans, taking pictures. A buddy of mine and I were just in the lobby hanging out, and we just walked over, and he's like, "Oh, come on, take a picture. Come on, take a picture, hang out." And we were just talking with him about, the different songs he's written and performed and all. And again, he was just so down to earth, just a regular guy. If you weren't a Kiss fan, you wouldn't know that he was somebody who's recorded on all these platinum albums, etc. You would have just thought he was just another fan hanging out in the lobby of a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I said to you, I ran into you like second or third day on the cruise, and this is the way I would sum up a Cruise Fest. You guys get it right. You really do. I can't think of any other way to say it. You get it right. This is a pre-party before a major Kiss event and the cruise, and everything about it to me was just perfect. I mean, it's what I would want. If I tried to do it, I'd probably only do it half as good. It really, and I'm not just saying that because if I didn't think it was this good and we wanted to do this chat, I'd say, nah, I want to stay clear of that. I'm not going to ever say something I don't agree or believe in. It was perfect to me. Really, what I would love as a Kiss fan.
Well, I think the big deal is all four of us that work together on this. We're all fans. We all love Kiss. We all go on the cruises. So when we put something together, I know this is speaking for me, but I'm speaking for them as well.
Yep.
We didn't want to put something out there that we wouldn't want to go to ourselves as Kiss fans.
It shows.
Yeah, and I think what the great part of it is, and this is a kind of, I don't want to say a feather in our cap, but it made me feel particularly good. People were coming just to Cruise Fest and not doing the cruise.
Yep. I heard that.
I'm not. I had over 100 people told me throughout the day.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm just coming here. I'm not going to the cruise. I just came down for this. I'm not going to the cruise. That was very, very flattering to me because that means that we created an event that was more of a destination than an afterthought.
Yeah.
So,
to me, it showed in every aspect of the event. So I get there the second day, and I think the first artist. So Karabi played on the pool deck, out by the pool that day, right?
Yeah, he did on Tuesday.
Yeah, so I know some of the people going to the party were nervous because they were doing work in the backyard and in the pool area, beforehand. But when we get there, it looks perfect. It seemed like it was great. That event seemed to go off to me perfectly. You want to talk about that a little bit?
You know what? The great thing about the pool parties, and it's such a huge pool area that there was plenty of room. Yep. So we set up a stage a little further back so people could be in the pool or in front of the stage. And Monday's pool party was a band called Jaded Past, who were the opener on Monday night inside as well. Good friends of mine and just a great rock and roll band. On Tuesday, the pool party was a band called Casterius from Holland, and they were awesome. They wore the makeup and dressed up in the Dress to Kill kind of outfits, which I thought was cool.
Yep, absolutely.
And they got very, very well received by the people that were out there. So that was flattering to them, and I know that they had never played in America before, so that was a big deal. And then, of course, Karabi comes out. Now, if you haven't seen Karabi's acoustic set, you're missing out. It's a one-man show. He gets up there, and he kind of does a little storyteller a little bit between the songs. Well, when we wrote this one, this is the first song I wrote with Crew. And he goes through the lineup. He does some Dead Daisies. He does some stuff that he likes. He did some Crew. And when all was said and done, you're like, wow, what a great set. Yeah. And he's such a good performer, and his voice is one of those, it's a personal bias. I think he's one of the better singers to come out in rock and roll over the last, 20, 25 years. His vocals are uniquely him. And I think he's a great singer too. Yep. So it's cool. It was very cool. I thought it was a little warm out there, but it was well attended. Yep. And he was great to the fans. He came in afterwards and took pictures and shook hands and signed autographs and didn't charge anything for any of that. Just, hey, I'm here. Let's meet and schmooze. He was called a gypsy by one of our volunteers. And it's funny. I don't hope he doesn't find it offensive, but it fits. He's nothing seems to really rattle the guy. He just seems to be a happy-go-lucky dude, and I was glad to be a part of it. Yeah,
no, he's another one. When I've met him in the past, same exact impression. Just so, easy to talk to, a happy-go-lucky guy. I agree with you 100%. His voice is amazing. The acoustic set is fit for him and his voice perfectly, and his personality. It's to me, it was a great way to start, or have day two really with that type of pool type of event was great.
People enjoyed that, and while that was going on, there was a few people that were doing the Ace guitar experience, which we sold all the guitars, and everybody was thrilled with them. They looked fantastic. Ace was in great spirits. All in all, it was just I was pleased with the way things were going. And then, of course, later in that night, we had the bands come on in the main concert hall. And like you said, we tried to keep it so there was plenty of room in the VIP area, plenty of room in the GA. Everybody had easy access to bars. Nobody was on top of each other. And when the first band hit the stage on Tuesday night, which was Thunder Mother, and then Kiss America, and then Return of the Comet and Ace, there was plenty of room for everybody to enjoy themselves, both nights and both areas. All in all, I really thought that it worked out well, and I'm excited about, seeing what we can pull together for next year.
Yeah, in fact, I'll even say it worked out to me perfectly. I don't even want to say well. That's not doing it justice. To me, it was perfect. My friend and I walked in. I think Thunder Mother had just started like a song or two into the set. We were able to pick and choose exactly where we wanted to stand. Again, it wasn't crowded. I was interested to see my friend's reaction because I've seen Thunder Mother before, so I know, that they're good and I know what to expect. He is in 7 different bands. He plays in a Motley Crue tribute band. He's got, a high bar for what he expects from a live performance. And about 2-3 songs in, he turned to me. He's like, "This band is damn good. Wow, they're really, really good." So it's only one person's opinion, but I value my friend's opinion because he plays 2-3 shows a week with the different bands. So he's like you, not that he's jaded, but he's kind of seen it all. So and he was like, "This band is. I like their vibe. The singer's great. They're really." To me, they were a great addition to the party, and then obviously they have the Kiss Cruise connection in the past, but they put on a great show to me.
Yeah, I really dig them. They were very good to the fans. They made sure they got out and took pictures with everybody who wanted it, signed autographs. They were really, they get it too. They understand that they're at that stage where this is when you go out, you kick ass, you have fun, you meet people, and you spread the word.
Yep.
It's a little different when you're someone like Ace Frehley or Sebastian. You've already done that.
Yep.
You're established. You don't need to do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thoroughly love it. I thank Brian Bell for helping us get them this year. And it was well worth every penny.
Yeah, no, they were great. Like I said, they were great. And then, like you said, after that was the Kiss tribute band, which to me also, they did an amazing job. They played some deep cuts. They played some, the standards. It was a great set to me by them as well.
Yeah, they did. They also had, we had a little competition, a friendly competition, if you will, where we accepted people to put in tapes of them performing Unholy.
Okay.
And we picked the winner, singer or guitar player, or bassist, drummer, whatever. We wound up choosing the drummer because he put together a hell of a tape. And he played with them. I think it was the last song of the set, maybe. And I just saw a video of it because unfortunately I was working. I missed that set, but I saw a video. I've been watching a lot of videos and from people, and he was good. He was fun to watch, So I'm glad he won because he really put the effort into it. And if I may, anyone who's listening to this, if you have a video or pictures from Cruz Fest, please post them on the Facebook group page. We definitely want them out there for people to see. I'm going to be starting up a gallery on Cruisefest.com of all people's photos that they submit. I'm going to start that this week so people can put their pictures of them having fun on our...
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think I've shared some of my videos already online. I might still have pictures, so I'll get them up on the site as well for you, Joe.
Yeah, cool. In fact, I saw one that Kiss shared that you had put out of the Q&A.
Yeah, which was kind of cool, but I just I started I videotaped stuff for years for myself, and it's a couple of years ago I thought my phone was crapping out, so I just threw a clip up on YouTube so I wouldn't lose it, and people seem to dig it, so I'm like, I might as well just share whatever it is I record for me. But it starts off I do it for me, but then like you just said, people like when you share the stuff or whatever, so I put it out there, and Kiss just so happened to pick up one of them, but it was like 10 minutes of the Q&A. I don't like to stand there the whole time videoing, but yeah, that was cool that they did that. That was that was cool. So go back to the Cruz Fest though here. So then after Thunder Mother and after the Kiss tribute was to me one of the main events of the whole thing. the return of the Comet. So I had seen them before. I know that the band is top notch. I love the set list, the songs they do.
Me too.
And to me, they didn't disappoint in any shape, matter, or form that night. Their set, it amazes me. My friends saying to me, "It sounds like Todd singing these songs in the original key." Which, if that's true, kudos to Todd. At 60 so years old to be able to do that. It's really, but each one of them, like you said before, John's a top-notch guy. Richie's great. Steve's great. What a great band and what a great performance that was.
And those are a good group of guys.
Absolutely.
Like I had a good conversation with Richie. Richie was supposed to be at last year's pre-party, but he unfortunately had, his wife passed, and I felt awful. You know what I mean? And so what was nice about it when we saw him at the show they did back in like April or May in Philly or Pennsy, we went to go see them. He remembered. And he was like, thank you for that. And it's nice when you work with these guys and they show you the side of them that reminds you they're normal people.
Yep.
Richie is a normal guy. And I got to tell you, I had a lot of fun with him and the guys from that band. And I tell you, if you're not seeing that band live, you are doing yourself an injustice because they are really worth seeing.
Agreed. No, I agree. And I love they do some of the Ace, 85 demos like Animal and Give It To Me Anyway. And Give It To Me Anyway is one of my favorite Ace songs, period, from any era. So, I always get excited when they do that live. And their show to me is spot on. If I'm honest, I think Richie's guitar was a little loud in the mix. And I think that led to Ace's frustration when he joined on stage. But, the show itself was amazing. I would go see them again tomorrow and the day after and the day after if they were playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course Ace joined them, and that was it was a little bit of a sound snafu with Ace, but I think all in all the fans enjoyed seeing him on stage with those guys. That's the first time that he's and those four guys have all been on stage at the same time.
Yep, agreed.
So that's a piece of history.
Oh, without a doubt. And, I know Ace kept, saying, turn his guitar volume up. And fans have to remember, first off, Ace has lost a lot of his hearing, So I kind of felt for the sound guy a little bit because every time the sound guy tried to get the volume a little higher, there'd be a slight feedback. And then I'm sure he'd be like, that's all I can go. And
right.
Ace is just losing his hearing. He's in his late 60s. He's done this forever. And, hey, but to me, Rock Soldiers, Breakout, seeing them perform that together, I was on cloud nine. If Ace hadn't even made any comments, I would have been like, "This is awesome! Yeah." I wouldn't have even been thinking twice about it. So, kudos for you to being able to pull that one off and getting them together.
Well, that was part of the original when we talked to Return of the Comet at first, because they were one of the first bands we booked. And for anyone who knows, John Regan and Todd Howard were in 4x Faith.
Yep.
Who played last year's. So I had a relationship going into them with this year. So by the time this came around, they were already doing the Return of the Comet.
Yep.
So, basically Neil and I at that time were the two guys that were doing the majority of the stuff before Jay and Bill got on board. And we were like, you know what? We're going to put them on. And we asked them, because we knew we were going after Ace, do you mind doing 2 songs with Ace? And they were like, oh, God, no, that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
They were really easy to work with. And, of course, when we talked to Ace, we just built that into his contract. And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll do it.
Right.
So it was something we knew from the start we wanted to create, and I'm glad that we were able to pull it off.
Yeah, no, and so was I as a fan because, for me it was one of the highlight performances of the entire week. I love that they got up on stage together. That's something you're not going to get to see often again at all. Maybe one more time in our lifetime if we're lucky. So the history of that moment wasn't lost on me as I was standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to me, after that, you get the main event. You get an Ace show. So, as if that wasn't enough bang for your buck already, you get an Ace freaking Frehley now performing a full set, And to me, his band is amazing. Most people know the band from either the Cruises, from Gene's band, and now they're playing with Ace. The band is so good, so tight. Their harmonies are incredible. And to me, the Ace show was great as well.
Yeah, and when we wanted to do that all-star band on Monday night, they were, of course, we went right to those guys. And, I talked to Phil, Jeremy, and Ryan, and we're like, look, if you guys would do it, we'll pay you to be the band. Let's have some people jump up with you. And like I said, John Berglaw jumped up. A couple girls from Thunder Mother did different various stints. The guys from Jaded Past jumped up and did a song.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of who else jumped up. We're drawing a mental blank. We had so many people there. But it was fun. I mean, it was different. It was unique. It's nice when you get to see John Corabi. He did a few songs, which was fantastic. It was cool. It was a really good set. I enjoyed it a lot. I think Scarlett jumped up and did a tune too, if memory serves. But just all in all, man, it was a lot of fun. We tried to create something that was unique and something that people will remember.
Absolutely.
They're not going to say, I went to an Ace concert. No offense to Ace, I'm just using them as an example.
Right.
But if you've seen Ace 40 times, 20 times, you don't remember one concert over another, just that you've seen Ace and they were all good. With this, you're going to remember, this is what I saw at Cruz Fest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And to me, again, kudos to you and all the guys you work with. To me, you kept the price for a general admission ticket, ridiculously affordable for a 2-day event. I think Sebastian Bach played here a month or two ago, and just for him alone was $60 or $70 just to go see him. I don't know how you guys pulled that off. And, kudos to you, because to me, the price for the event for 2 days for all those shows, you get the expo. I'm just like, after those 2 days, like I said, after that, in and of itself, I'm like, oh God, I'm tired. And now the cruise hasn't even started.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, myself, my wife, and a handful of the volunteers that are like part of my team that have been working with me for some time, we literally went like 45, 48 hours of work in 3 days.
I can imagine.
It was a lot and hard. We didn't sleep much.
I'm sure.
So we're hoping that next year we can get things a little bit more streamlined and maybe hire like a temp agency to come out and help.
Okay.
Because it's hard to ask volunteers
to
come out and do that kind of effort for nothing.
Sure.
And we respect that. So we have a lot of things we're going to try to tweak for next year to make it a little better than this year on the back end. I think the front end, what everybody saw, we're going to keep everything the same, let it run the same way. We're just going to do it on the back end a little differently.
Yeah, no, the front end to me was flawless. And, one of the things I loved also, I'm just going to show, you guys had, in Kiss Cruise fashion, I love the cups that you guys had, right? Cruise Fest 2019, and on the back it had the artist, and one of them was with the Kiss Limousine guys. So, I love these cups. These were nice little additions. They go with my Kiss Cruise cups. So good touch on your guys' part with that.
Thank you. That was something we did last year too with Vinny. And I don't know. Look, we all like to collect our cups. We all collect. I'm sitting in my Kiss room, surrounded by my collection.
Absolutely.
And that's what we do. And we get that. I think next year there'll be a little bit more of that stuff. I thought the picks were a huge hit, and we sold the pick sets, and the picks were cool. They had everybody's face on them and all that, and I think that people really dug that. So
there you go. You see, you got one there.
Oh, there you go.
One there. That's exactly what I was going to bring up next. You didn't even know I was holding them in my hands, right? So, and there's 10 of them in the collection if I get it right, and it was a great set as well. So I'm definitely glad I was able to pick up these, because these were limited, right? Didn't you only have like 75 sets or something like that?
Actually, we did 50.
50, all right, sorry about that.
A sale, but I kept some for the band to toss out to the crowd while they played.
Okay.
And lots of people caught the picks that way. There are some left over. I'm going to be setting up the shop on our website.
Yep.
We've got some leftover shirts. I've got some picks. I've got some canned koozies, the little cooler thingies.
Yep, okay.
I'm going to put them out there at a discount just so if anybody missed it and they want to buy something, if we have a shirt left in your size, you'll get it at a discounted pricing. Awesome. It'll let us get rid of what stock we have. What good is it going to do us? How many shirts can I wear? I mean,
and that's going to be on Cruisefest.com. They'll be able to go to buy that stuff.
The first thing I did, which I just finished yesterday, was getting on the home page. If you log on now, if you did one of the meet and greets, whether it was Sebastian, Return of the Comet, Ace, or the Ace Guitar Experience, it's 4 different ones. Mm-hmm. You go to the home page, you can just click on their picture and go right to the gallery and get your image. So that way you can get your picture and go do what you got to do. And the next couple of days, I'll get that store up and running, and then I'll make the announcement for people that are interested, that they'll be able to go check that out. You never know. I mean, if you wanted a shirt and you didn't buy one, maybe $20, it's not that big a deal. We'll ship you a shirt.
Yep. Nice. All right, so definitely people could go check that out. So, Joe, I have to ask you, last year you had Vinnie Vincent in makeup, electric. As of right now, today, his only public performance that he's done electric, in 25 years or so. This year, you reunite, Ace Frehley with the Return of the Comet guys. How do you top this next year? Can you top it next year?
Well, I can. It's just whether or not we're able to. We have some thoughts. I don't want to let the cat out of the proverbial bag.
Of course.
But we're thinking of some thoughts of rejoining guys that had worked previously together back as a reunion of sorts. So we'll see. We have some thoughts. It's a matter of what we're able to work out with these artists' schedules.
Of course.
I'm also thinking, I do a lot of, when I do these events, I work with guys on the Sebastian Bach level, like Stryper and Dokken and those types of guys. So I'm thinking that we'll probably have some acts like that. I don't know exactly who yet, obviously. I definitely want to do the Women Rock again. I think that it was, we kind of, the idea was sound, but we put it together kind of quickly to just, because we really wanted to thank, I think Neil and I both specifically, because our wives were so involved on the back end, realize how much the women in our lives matter. And it's not just the women in rock per se, which is why we called it Women Rock, not Women in Rock.
Yep, I did notice that.
These, I'm sorry, I'm going to sound, some guys may look at this as, goofy or whatever, but I couldn't live my life the way I do without my wife. I couldn't. And I think that 99.9% of us guys, we're better because of the women we have in our lives. So it's nice if we're able to thank them, congratulate them, whatever the case may be. So I like the idea of keeping that, but maybe making that more of a focal point of one of the nights as opposed to just making it kind of a smaller gathering. I can't say. See, one of the things, that I'm getting into political things here, but one of the big things in this world I have a big problem with is why a woman who does the same job as a guy gets paid less than a guy. To me, I can't comprehend it.
Yep,
if you can do the job, I don't care what your gender is, get paid to do the job. So there's definitely something wrong with that, and it's nice if we can point that out and say, we don't think that way. We thank you, we love you, and we appreciate you. Absolutely. So I definitely want to do that again next year.
No, that's very cool, Joe. I agree with you. And, it's funny that you say that because at some point when we ran into each other on the cruise, I said to myself, God, your wife, God bless her, because this, we see the 2-day event. The fans don't see the 6, 9, 12 months before that and all the work you put in. And then, like you said, you don't even get to see the bands perform that night because you're working behind the scenes nonstop, pulling it off. And then the cruise starts. And it's a sacrifice for the women, in this case, your wife as well, because I'm sure there's countless hours that you're putting into this and with the other guys to coordinate it and to make it go as smooth as it did go. So, like you said, kudos to the women in our lives, because without them, this wouldn't have been possible either.
Amen.
Absolutely. So, let's just talk, if you don't mind, the cruise a little bit, right?
Sure.
So we just spoke Cruz Fest. Again, I'm tired again just thinking about it, but now we get on the ship. And what do you think of this year's cruise?
I've enjoyed every one for different reasons. I didn't see a lot of the band. I'm not a big Darkness fan. Okay. Nothing against them, just they didn't hook me. So I didn't go check them out. I heard they did put on a good live show. They did,
yeah. I'm not. I'll just sorry to cut you off. I'm not a fan, but they put on an amazing live show. The singer, I don't love guys that sing in falsetto like that, but he's hilarious frontman and a great frontman. But I'm with you 100%. They're not somebody who hooked me in either, but great live band. Yeah, and adding them was great because I know there are a lot of people that do like them. Absolutely.
I thought Warrant was good. We was able to check out their set in the Stardust, and let me tell you, the guitarists in that band are phenomenal.
Agreed.
Nobody gives them props that I hear, but they were fantastic.
Agreed.
So I thought that was good. All in all, I thought the cruise was a hit, and it was nice. I thought Gene was funny doing "Are You Smarter Than a Rock God?"
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought Paul's slumber party was fun. Great to see the kids interacting with him.
Agreed.
There was a lot about this cruise that I thought was a little more intimate than cruises past.
Yep.
And that was cool. As a fan, I'd rather see that.
Agreed.
But I thought it was great. I will say this, and I hope, Kiss, if you hear this, don't be mad at me. I hated In the Round. Hated it.
I was going to ask you about that. Yep. So I was neutral. My friend loved it. You hate it. So it's interesting hearing all the different opinions.
As a guy who does these types of events, I know that when you put somebody in the rounds, especially outside with the wind blowing like that,
yep,
you're never going to get the sound right because it constantly changes.
Right.
You know, wind direction changes, feedback changes, whatever. Yep. But I didn't like how the speakers were lower. Unfortunately, the only spot I could get on was right behind one of the speaker stands, so I spent all day going like this, back and forth, trying to see them.
That's a bummer.
It's one of those things where I appreciate them trying to do something different.
Yep.
But I think that may not have been what I would have done, and I don't think they'll do it again either. I'll bet you. I don't think they enjoyed it either.
Yeah, I got the impression they didn't like it that much. You know, for me, what I said is that I felt they played, if this makes any sense, I'm going to try to describe it. They played on a round stage with a standard stage setup. So in other words, the drum was in the middle, the three of them were in front, and they just all like went around in a circle, and a lot of times you're looking at their backs or you're looking at their sides. I saw Metallica in the round last year at Nassau Coliseum over here, and they worked every corner of that stage. It didn't matter if the stage was spinning or not. You were looking at somebody in front of you the whole time. Right. Paul joked about it during the show that all right, see you again in 2.5 minutes. You know, it's kind of like, no, come on, you guys are great frontmen. Paul and Gene are amazing. Work that stage a little bit, you know, kind of move around back and forth. But to me, they set it up as a standard stage that spun around in circles. So I thought it was interesting. I'm glad I saw it one time. I'm hoping next year they return to the standard stage.
I think they will. I got the impression that they weren't happy with the sound at all either. Yeah. And I think that the main reason for that is it's really hard to set that sound and keep it set while it's constantly in motion. Even though it's moving slowly, you're still moving.
Yep.
You know, and again, like I saw Yes in the round years ago.
Okay.
And in an arena, it's different because it's such a big system. The only thing that's on the stage is the monitors. You don't have the big walls of speakers blocking even the people on the floor.
Yep.
And they did what Metallica did. They were on all different sides, and no matter who was there, you were seeing somebody.
You were seeing something. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. But, you know, I give Chris credit for trying, and Six-Man as well, credit for trying something different. To me, it made for a very unique experience this year. It's a show I will remember forever because I'll probably never see Kiss in the round again. You know, so from that point of view, I'm glad they did it once. But like you, I'm kind of hoping they go back to the standard stage next year. But I also
kudos to them for trying something new because after 9 cruises, you want to mix it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes I sit home and I'm like, did this happen on cruise 5 or 7? You know, 6 or 5? You know, this one I'll remember. Oh yeah, they're in the round they played on cruise 9. You know, because it's probably, like you said, probably the only time they're going to do that. I thought it was cool also they brought Bruce out. You know, I suspected they would. I figured maybe 2 or 3 songs. They actually played with him for 7 songs. So to me, that was a lot of fun to see him up there for such a long period of time.
It's basically half the set.
Absolutely. Agreed. And, you know, he did both, you know, 80s Kiss songs with them as well as some of the songs from the 70s. So to me, I thought that was really cool. They made him like a 5th member of the band for, like you said, for half the show.
Well, I think that, and look, I don't know this for a fact because I don't talk to Kiss one-on-one like I know them.
Yep.
But I truly believe that their relationship with Bruce, they didn't have a problem with Bruce to like have him leave the band the way they did with Vinny but the deal was with Bruce is, we're going to put the makeup back on and Ace is coming back.
Right.
So it's not like we have a problem with you, but we're going to go in a different direction because, well, we can. And let's face it, the reunion gave them 25 more years of existence.
Absolutely.
100%. It just did. And I think Bruce gets that.
Agreed.
And I think that they're truly friends. I think that they, you get that impression. You get the impression that Bruce and Paul and Gene and Tommy and Bruce are together. They seem like they're good friends.
Yep.
And because they're both guitarists, you think there'll be a little bit of, you know, well, I'm the
competition.
That's the fans. That's the fans looking at it and putting that stigma on the relationship. Yep. These guys are consummate pros. They look at it like, hey man, it's good to see you. Let's do a song together. And I just think it's great. I really do. I'm glad they've been keeping Bruce in the mix. The fans love him. I love him. I think he's a great guy. Every time I've met him, he's been super cool. I had a conversation with his wife once, and she was super pleasant. I mean, they're just good people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. And, you know, to the point with the guitar players, I think it was in the Eric and Tommy Q&A. They brought Bruce out, and Bruce was talking about how Eric signed his marriage certificate. Tommy had mentioned in the Q&A during the sail away that the hardest guitar solo for him to play is God Gave Rock and Roll to You, and he tipped the hat to Bruce and what a great job he did there. Did you catch the Name That solo with Tommy Thayer that he did in the HM?
I did not this year.
Okay, yeah. So during that, he's playing, as you know, a whole bunch of different solos, and Cruises are trying to say which one. And he took time out during that to say, hey, these are great solos, but, guys, don't lose sight of the fact these were written by Ace Frehley, and he did a great job. So, I know Tommy sometimes with some fans gets a little bit of flack from people. What a great guy. I mean, he literally complimented Bruce, Ace, and to me, it's such a down-to-earth person. I just, I love having him in the band, and I loved his event also. I know you said you didn't go to it, but the Name That solo event was probably my favorite on the boat this year.
I've seen him do that a couple of years, and it's always fun. One thing I can say about Tommy, like Bruce, has always been very, very pleasant and genuine when you meet him. I think that he truly appreciates his lot in life and what he's been gifted. He worked his butt off to get there.
Absolutely.
I take it personally when I hear people badmouth him. Oh, well, it's not Kiss without Ace. Okay, let me ask you a question. If Ace stayed in the band, do you think the band would still be here?
Right.
I love Ace, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of bickering between the two, or they'd still be together.
Yep.
You wouldn't have had Kiss the last, what's Tommy's been in the band? Tommy's been in the band close to 20 years at this point, right?
Absolutely.
18, 17.
Yeah. Yep.
You wouldn't have had Kiss this last decade and a half if it wasn't for Tommy.
Agreed.
So kudos to him. I think he's done a great job. I think he's a great player. He's a consummate professional. I wish fans would get over it and just enjoy the music. That's really what it's all about.
100% agree with you. So what do you think of the Bruce shows on the boat?
Oh, my God. For the last 3 years, they have been the highlight of the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to Kiss. I love and the Kiss is set this year on the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, gentlemen.
Yep.
That's what we were all waiting for.
Agreed.
But Larger Than Life and It's My Life. Come on, these were great.
Yep, agreed.
And it's great to see them dip a little deeper. Strutter, thank you. Wanted to hear something from the old set that they weren't playing much these days.
Yep.
Do You Love Me?
Yep.
But, Bruce is great because every song is like that.
Yes, agreed.
And he does these little medleys of songs which are done so well. You get a chance to sing a verse and a chorus and then jump into another song and sing that verse and chorus. It's just, I don't know, man. If he's not on the boat next year, I'll be slightly disappointed because I look forward to that every day. And I don't want to get too off topic, but Todd Kearns.
Oh, God, amazing.
That dude's got more talent in his pinky than I got in my entire body.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you a quick story. I saw him play. I'm a big Miles Kennedy and Alter Bridge fan.
Yep.
And I love Mark Tremonti.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to go see Slash, which I love Slash. He's great.
Yep.
And Miles is singing, and Todd and Brent are in the band.
Yep.
Todd stole the show. I was watching. Todd was all over the place on stage. And look, Miles is a great frontman. Slash is a great guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
But Todd carried that band live just because he's such a great frontman.
Yep.
I told him last year, we were on the cruise, I said, look, man, I got to tell you. And he's like, do me a favor and don't say that in public. I don't want to make anybody mad. I'm like, no, dude, you're just that good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that you're able to be in a situation where your talent can be shown to people who will appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and you didn't even mention, Zach Thorne in the band as well is just incredible. I mean, he does the Gene songs incredibly. So, my friend and I probably spent a half hour or an hour one day debating which support band is better, Ace's current support band or Bruce's support band. And we came to a conclusion, you can't lose either way. I mean, you go back and forth. We're talking about A+ versus A+, so.
Zach is it's funny, if you closed your eyes,
mm-hmm.
you would think Gene was singing the song.
I said the exact same thing. Mm-hmm.
Some of the parts, you're like, oh my God, it's perfect.
Yep, agreed.
So I give them props for being as talented as they are, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, and I'm looking forward to KK10. They've already named Queensryche, which is awesome. Because
mm-hmm.
I've been asking how they do the questionnaire, and they ask for bands.
Mm-hmm.
They ask for Queensryche every year.
Yep.
And I don't think it's because of me that they did it, but I'm glad.
No, a number of people have asked, and I'll share my Queensryche story here with you. I'm a casual Queensryche fan. I'll say it that way. I have a couple of albums. I went to, do you know the M3 festival that's in Maryland on an annual basis?
Yes.
So I went Okay, I went like 3-4 years ago, something like that, and Queensryche was one of the bands on the bill, middle of the afternoon, right after Jeff Tate had left the band. So pretty much nobody had seen their new lead singer yet. So I said, all right, well, I know some of the Queensryche songs. I'll watch it. And the first song or two, the crowd was like, they're really not that into it. By the end of the set, everybody was up on their feet. Anybody who wasn't watching ran in and started watching. I've never seen anything like this in my life. To say they won over that crowd during that performance is an understatement and not even doing them any kind of justice. It was incredible to see a reaction where, there was, 5,000 people watching, 3,000 people watching, and they were just lukewarm to it. To go and 45 minutes later stand and cheer and going crazy, and it's just like, wow, this singer is. So I'm actually really excited to see him on the cruise next year, because that memory of seeing them that day, that's probably like one of my top 20 concerts ever. And I'm not a huge fan, but they just won me over so much. I'll never forget that moment in a concert ever in my life.
I saw them for the first time. I was a big Queensryche fan growing up, and I saw them. I have a Warning tour book. So at the very end of the Warning tour, right before Rage for Order came out.
Okay, yep.
There used to be a bar nearby that didn't check IDs, and all the kids went to see the band. One of those. And I've been a fan ever since. Mind Crime, awesome album. Empire was great. Promised Land was great. They had all these great albums. When the crap happened and Jeff left, I thought, well, there's the end of that.
Right.
But then I had the privilege of seeing Queensryche with the new singer, and he's phenomenal. He sounds just like Jeff, to be honest with you. They picked someone that fit their back catalog.
Absolutely. They got that right. Yep.
And Jeff, I've seen him live doing the Mind Crime thing, and he nailed it. He had Rudy Sarzo in the band, Metal Mike on guitar. And, so they're both doing their own thing. They're both doing it right, I believe. It's a shame they can't do it together, but that often is the case. Look at Skid Row. I mean, they can't seem to get it together either.
Yep.
It is what it is. But, I think they're going to be a lot of fun on the cruise. I think they're going to be very well received, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, likewise. So, we usually know as cruises, long-time cruises, that we get the information, like in January we start booking. When could people start to expect to get information on the next Cruise Fest?
I would think that within, what is it now? It's mid-November. I would say, I think it's pretty safe to say within the next couple of weeks we'll announce that there's going to be one.
Okay.
We pretty much have all solidified that, but we still have a lot to iron out on the back end from this one, and finalizing the numbers, getting everybody squared away. There's still a lot of that's going on. So we're focusing on that more than we are doing the planning for the next one. But we have some thoughts. I think it's pretty confident to say I could say here that there will be a Cruise Fest 2020. I just, we don't have the lineup or anything like that set yet, but I'm definitely something I think that we'll all be working on. We're going to want to do it sooner rather than later, because the way things worked out this year, there were a lot of people that didn't hear about it, which blew me away.
I can't understand that.
Several cruises said, I never heard about it. And I'm like, I don't know how you couldn't have heard about it. We were pumping it for a year. But I definitely want to get out in front of people early this year and, get our tickets sold so we can just focus on the running of the event, because we were still selling tickets the day of. I would prefer it to be sold out so that we have to have registration open to sell tickets, just accept tickets. It'll be easier that way.
Absolutely. Well, certainly when you're ready to make an official announcement, if you want to come back on the show, I'll help you plug it. To me, every KISS fan, whether you're going on the cruise, whether you're not going on the cruise, you need to go. You need to check this out. It's a 2-day great party. And, I've gone now a couple of years, and any KISS fan will have the time of their life. And like you said before, you don't need to go on the cruise to go on this party. Hopefully fans want to do both, but you don't need to. And it's really a great, great time at the party. So, I look forward to next year's, Joe, without a doubt.
Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that a lot. It means a lot to me when people, and I had a lot of people come up to me and say, oh, thank you so much. And I'm glad that they thanked me. But really thank the volunteers, because they made it. Everybody who helped, helped the four of us and our wives get this off the ground and keep it off the ground. They're the ones. They're the true MVPs, because we can come up with the idea, we can pay for the bands, but if there isn't volunteers helping us run the actual event, the event doesn't go off without a hitch the way it did this year.
Absolutely. And, please thank you. And make sure you extend my thanks to the rest of your team as well, because you're always kind enough to come on. But, like you said, it's a whole team. And I ran into Jay, and I thanked him on the boat. But please thank everybody.
I will.
Awesome. Well, Joe, thank you for taking the time today. Is there anything else, Cruisefest 19 or Cruisefest 2020, that you wanted to bring up before we close this out?
Just do me a favor, if you're an earshot of this and you're interested, go to Cruisefest.com. It's Cruisefest with a K. Check out our site, and you can connect with us through the site, through the contact link. And please join our Facebook group, because that's where people are interacting and talking and spreading stuff and pictures and things. And it's a great way for you to see what we do and how we do it.
And what's the name of the Facebook group?
It's Cruisefest.
Perfect.
It's just if they look up Cruisefest on, like, search it, it'll come up.
Perfect. Joe, thanks again. I look forward to seeing you again in a few months, hopefully, and I look forward to more fun next year.
You got it, bud. See you soon. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Take it easy. There you go, everybody. Thanks for watching the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. I want to thank Joe D'Angelo one more time for joining me on today's episode, and I look forward to Cruisefest 2020. For all of you who love rock and roll music, go follow my Facebook page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. Thanks for watching, everybody, and talk to you guys soon.